Cafe Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1762. Hello, I'm Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont, the last place on earth. It's Tuesday, and I get to be filmed. I am so used to recording my voice. Now my whole face and features get
Mike's Daily Podcast
recorded a little later today. Oh, I'm wearing my Doctor Who hat. It's a Who hat. And
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I don't know why, but all over the internet, on the YouTube channels, there are haters that don't like the female Doctor Who. I like potatoes, and they instead want her to be male. And they feel that the whole Doctor Who thing has set sailed and never is coming back. But the fact is, she is Jodie Whittaker.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Jodie Whittaker of Doctor Who will be back next year. As will Chris Chernball.
Mike's
Chernball.
Daily
It's all depending.
Podcast.
Of course, with the whole Brexit thing.
Yeah!
Maybe with the whole Brexit thing, and if England just melts down completely, there won't be any Doctor Who anyway. So, or Downton Abbey movie. So I gotta be filmed today. Oh, by the way, let's say hi to some people that are here at Cafe Anyway. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, the gift shop supervisor. What's Brexit? Brexit is England wants to leave the EU. EU. Exactly. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. I see that Floyd yesterday was in the podcast picture. Yes, he was in the podcast picture. I didn't like it. I was offended.
But if you get offended, that's the way the cookie crumbles. No.
It was a funny podcast picture. You said to me something about how I should get a side job scaring kids dressed as Santa with a bowl full of jelly. Yeah, that was funny. And I said I'd look like Charlie Brown. Because Christmas time is here. Yeah. So I got to do this video thing where I'm going to be talking to the camera. And I'm going to be answering some questions that I was just handed just now.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Oh, yeah, the podcast picture, Ariel. Thank you for reminding me. Well, I will have to come up with something soon. But first, all I have to say is, in the shallow, 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 we're far from the shallow now. God, what a horrible song. I'm off the deep end, watch as I dive in, I'll never meet the ground. What the hell does that even mean? Oh, she's in a very deep... Oh, there's multiple layers to the song. Crash through the surface where they can't hurt us. We're far from the shallow now. See, the thing is, they have Lady Gaga sing that part. Had Bradley Cooper sung that, which I believe, as a former songwriter... Oh, and by the way, Mark Ronson co-wrote that. Mark Ronson. Do. Michelle Pfeiffer, that... That's the only thing I remember is Michelle Pfeiffer. Who's in the Ant-Man movie that came out like 30 years ago? Playing the wife of Kirk Douglas. Wow. Witches of Eastwick. So, she is a Shallow. In the Shallow now. Very popular song right now. I will probably play it when I am on a radio station. I'm doing a little side thing. I'm going to be on a station somewhere in the East Bay, far East Bay. But I'll let you know more about that later in the week. So I have to answer questions What is my role at my company? I knock heads together and say, hey, let's get things done. Quit messing around. I'm the guy in the wood shop on South Park. Quit your horsing around. No, we work for a common goal, and we work till we get the project done. And then we move forward with the next project and put out the next fire. That's what we do. We move forward. Boy, I'm going to have to spend some time thinking of the answers to these questions as we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. This is where did I first learn about it? Oh, that was an interesting story, how I first learned about the company. What do I find the most challenging? Well, right now, the most challenging is getting up at 4 in the morning, because I'm still doing my 5 a.m. slot. What has been your favorite project? Well, I kind of like doing the 5 a.m. thing, because I get to be creative, and I get to play crazy sound effects. Like this!
That's enough. Put down the mic.
What? No. We're outside a cafe anyway. We're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. Oh, Big Boy of Outkast. You know, the one that sings, I like the way you move. Well, actually, he doesn't sing that part, but the guy that does the little rap in the majority of the song. He is a huge fan of Kate Bush. Been running up that road, been running up that hill, running up that building. Yeah. He loves that song. It's so funny because he did a video about it on YouTube. And he talks about how he loves the whole concept. Because in the chorus she goes, if I only could, I make a deal with God and I get him to swap our places. And he says this comment, Big Boy does, I don't know if a lot of men would want to switch places with women. And then he stops and he looks at the camera and he goes, think about that. That should be my inspiration for doing this film thing I got to do today. Look at the camera and go, think about that. Let's see. And what is the proudest moment that I've had with this company? Probably the moment that shall be revealed later. I'll have to put a link to my video when I film it. It's so cool, though. There's going to be a lady editing it in Thousand Oaks. And she's from Thousand Oaks, and I mentioned Thousand Oaks because of the horrible things that happened last month. Remember how bad it was in Thousand Oaks with the fires and then the terrible shooting at the borderline? I basically spent the late 90s in the borderline, so I know all about it, and I know about Thousand Oaks. I worked in Thousand Oaks. My first full-time radio job was in Thousand Oaks, so I'm a huge fan. But I'm not a fan of yogurt anymore. Well, I wrote that down here, which is basically a lie. I do like yogurt. I just have to be careful. I'm a little lactose intolerant, and it really messes up my insides. Just saying. Gotta watch out for that. The insides. And apparently Starbucks, their New York bathrooms, speaking of insides, they're closing. A lot of them, they did this study where they went to the Starbucks throughout New York, and most of the bathrooms were closed. And the excuse given was, well, to have a bathroom in New York, you have to clean it a lot. But that's why we have to have it closed a lot to clean it. Okay? But it's just the same in San Francisco. You cannot find anywhere. If you need to use the restroom, it's a difficult search, my friend. It's like a search for the Holy Grail, Monty Python. And you're looking everywhere for a bathroom, and they're really disgusting public restrooms that you can't use because they don't clean those nearly enough. And there seems to be this feeling, I don't know what's going on in San Francisco in the public world, that all bathrooms must be disgusting as possible, and even if they clean it up nice, you have to make it horrible within 5 seconds. I don't know why that is, and a lot of the restaurants, they try and hide the fact that they have bathrooms. You walk in, can I use your restroom? Oh no, we don't have one. You got to go down 18 miles to the left, make a right, and then it's right there. But I need to use it now. Oh, no, you can't. So that's a problem in San Francisco. Do I have the answer? No. Do I do a podcast? Yes. Do I like doing it? Yeah. Oh, I spent about 20 minutes last night talking to my lovely lady friend, and we were discussing this movie.
Sweet.
Yes, Napoleon Dynamite.
I caught you a delicious bass.
I forgot how many parts of that movie made me laugh. How does that happen? How does somebody... people either love that movie or completely hate it. But, oh my gosh, there are just so many funny scenes in that movie. And my lovely lady friend was mentioning a bunch. And I was laughing with each one. That's the end of the show. What's the podcast picture? It's going to be... Oh, I got to find this out in like 30 seconds. Oh, we're into the shallows now. Shallow, 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 ooh, shallow. That probably describes a lot of people you know, doesn't it? When they're a little bit shallow. We gotta struggle to be less shallow in this world, is what I'm saying. Well, I think we'll go with this picture from... Where was this taken? It's a lovely picture. That's not gonna work either. I don't know. I'm gonna just make it... Should I go with something from Friday? With the... I got my hands in the air like I just don't care. Because I really don't know a good podcast picture today. I think I've reached my limit. I've come up with bupkis for my podcast picture. Oh, well, you can see it at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, whatever it is. It'll be a surprise. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Have a great day.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!